Hey, y'all, listen. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. I'm actually late because today, what was I going to say to y'all? Oh, because today was my book club meeting. So I was in the streets, had my book club meeting. We read a very good book this month, and we're reading part 2 of the book we read last month. The book was called The Housemaid. And I maybe put it on my community page. And so the book that I'm reading for the month of June is The Housemaid's Secret. This writer is excellent, good book if you're into reading. I put it on a community page when I get an opportunity. But we had a good book club meeting today. So I was in the streets with the family, my book club family. But listen, guys, it's trending topics, okay? And the title is It's a Lot. It's a lot. Diddy twins go to prom. And you know, when you're in high school and you're about to graduate from high school, the prom, the graduation, what did they do a high school senior year trip? All of that stuff is nothing but fun. It leads to great memories, excellent memories. And so, unfortunately for the twins, they flew to New York to be at his dad's trial. Then they flew back to LA so they could be at the prom. Then they had to leave part of the trial because the testimony was just too much. And then they got to shut down the comments on their Instagram because people are wilding out in their comments because of what their dad allegedly did or didn't do. It's rough. You know, sometimes when you think to yourself, you've been through a lot, then you look and you see somebody else's life and you're like, whoa, I wouldn't want to be in that position. So we're going to talk about the twins going to prom. Then I feel like, you know what, we're seeing about celebrities being unhinged because celebrities, unfortunately, you know, they're always followed by the paparazzi. So we get to know intimate details about their life. But you know what, Diddy and all of these other people in the entertainment industry that seems they can't keep their hands off of people in bad ways, whether it's physical or in a essay way, they're not the only ones unhinged. You got this Popeyes manager that literally pow-powed the co-worker over some burnt biscuits. You know, Diva don't make this stuff up. When I'm reading these stories, I'm not saying to myself, this is a lie. This can't be real. He pow-powed the co-worker over some burnt biscuits. So you're going to go to jail and do what? 10, 15 years over some burnt biscuits? You have got to be dumb, stupid, or both. Then you got the funeral home. There are some jobs that's just so important, I don't even know if I would want to do it. When you work at a funeral home, just because you see death every day, all day, and you see dead bodies, you can never get unsensitive, I'm going to say, to the families that come through the door because for them, it's their loved one. They're not thinking about the 99 other bodies you done seen or the 50 other people that got to have a funeral the same week you're trying to have your family member funeral. You got to be locked into that person that is before you in your face that moment. And you always got to have empathy and sympathy for the one that passed. Well, this young lady said she went to her uncle's funeral, and when she got there to pay the respects and looked in the casket, it wasn't her uncle. She said the funeral home messed up, and they're saying no, we didn't. How you gonna mix up bodies? You know, they kill me. They think all people look alike, all the black people look alike. How you mixing up bodies? And this ain't no race thing because it was a black funeral home. They put the wrong person in the casket. Doing too much. And now they want to talk about, no, we didn't make no mistake. Well, you don't think I know what my loved one looked like? That's why I titled this thing, It's a Lot. It's a lot. You putting the wrong body in the casket. It's a lot. You pound somebody over some burnt biscuits. It's a lot. The twins, one day they got to be in New York walking in a courtroom. They hear all the horrific things that people are accusing their dad of. And then the next day they got to go back and smile and get ready for prom. It's a lot. But y'all know what we got to do over here. It's trending topics. We got stuff to talk about. And, you know, we got to have these conversations over there here. And the hope is always, the hope is always that somewhere, somehow, somebody gets help by some message that we say here on this panel. No, we don't think that we're the end all be all. No, we're not saying that our word is gospel, but we are saying that we hope that through the conversation, you'll hear something that will change you, change your life, and maybe change your thought process for the better. Now, y'all know what I need in the chat. Flip, I appreciate you. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Sunday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title's called It's a Lot. The twins go to prom, Popeyes Mayhem, and a funeral mix-up. Let me bring the people on in the building. Oh, okay. I appreciate you, Christopher. Yes. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Wayne.
Hey.
Hey. All right, guess we got a little core panel here for tonight's Trending Topics Live. It is late, y'all. It is late on Sunday, but I'm glad y'all hanging out with me. I appreciate y'all. You know what? We're going to go ahead and get right into this Popeyes Mayhem. Over some burnt biscuits. It just don't make no sense. But the people are losing their mind nowadays. They're straight losing their mind. Let me go ahead and see if I can find this and share a screen. Let me share a screen here. Because this is real stuff. It don't even make no sense.
Biscuits led to bullets fired outside of South Charlotte Popeyes restaurant. One man was shot and it was caught on camera. We're going to freeze the video because it is graphic.
He all up in his face too. Oh, they fighting. He knocked the headset off.
You heard the woman gasping there. This happened outside of a Popeyes restaurant on South Boulevard near I-485. And that's where Channel 9's crime reporter Hunter Signs is live tonight. Hunter?
Erica, it is another example of a simple argument, this one over burnt biscuits, that led to someone being shot. Police say it happened between two managers at this Popeyes here behind me. And an eyewitness told me today all of it happened in front of his young children. For the first time, we are seeing different vantage points of a Mother's Day shooting at this South Charlotte Popeyes. Two men seen fighting in the parking lot, then two shots ring out. We are choosing to stop the Charlotte video, the rest too graphic to show. I spoke over the phone with an eyewitness who didn't want to use his name, but he says he and his wife were inside the fast food restaurant and were the last to deal with the suspect.
He was going in the back and was starting arguing with the guy over some burnt biscuits. He took the plate with the burnt biscuits and threw it on the ground.
Moments later, in this dash camera video, you can see the two men walk out of the Popeyes. Then another eyewitness captured the victim throw punches first. Then the suspect pulled a gun and fired. Seconds later, this angle shows the suspected gunman walks back into the restaurant as those inside scurry around. some ducking.
You always think the worst, that he's going nuts now and will shoot around, and that's it for us.
Nobody else was hurt. Seconds later, the suspect was seen walking out and away from the restaurant. Police caught up to him nearby, arresting 22-year-old Rondi Wood. He's charged with attempted murder. The victim shot twice, but is currently alive. And again, police say both the suspect and the victim were both managers here at this fast food restaurant you see behind me. I did reach out to Popeyes asking them how an employee managed to have a gun while on the clock and if any of their policies will change because of this, but I haven't heard back yet. Reporting live tonight in South Charlotte, Hunter Signs, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Hope that victim will be okay. Hunter, thank you.
Child, I said, Hunter, did I sign up for this? Hold on 1 second. So Popeye's manager in North Carolina allegedly shot a co-worker in dispute over burnt biscuits. The 22-year-old suspect has been charged with attempted first-degree murder. Hold on 1 second. A Popeye employee in North Carolina allegedly shot a co-worker during a shift on May 11th. A witness reportedly told authorities that the incident started over a disagreement about burnt biscuits. Rodney Wood, 22, has since been arrested and charged with attempted first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon. A Popeyes employee is facing a first-degree murder charge after allegedly shooting a co-worker over biscuits. Rodney Wood, 22, was arrested in Charlotte, North Carolina at about 6 p.m. local time on Sunday, May 11th, according to the county public arrest records. Wood has been charged with both attempted first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, per the arrest details. The altercation initially began inside a Popeye's location on South Boulevard, local news outlet reported. According to a police affidavit obtained by the outlet, a customer who witnessed the incident said that Wood got in a disagreement with a fellow employee over burnt biscuits. The witness says the employees took the argument outside after one challenged the other. This allegedly led to a physical altercation, at which point Wood allegedly took out a pow-pow and shot the other employees 2 times. In court documents, authorities state that the video was taken from the scene, allegedly shows Woods discharging his firearm twice at point-blank range. The outlet reported that the bullets hit the victim, whose name has not been released, in the groin and chest. He was rushed to Atrium Health Carolina's medical center, where he underwent emergency surgery. Wood allegedly ran from Popeyes after the shooting, but authorities found him shortly after in the same shopping center as the restaurant, per the news. He allegedly told authorities that his co-worker had punched him in the face 3 times once they stepped outside, and claimed that he fired 2 warning shots that were not intended to be fatal. However, the authorities said that Wood failed to articulate a credible imminent threat of deadly force necessary to support a self-defense claim under state law, per the affidavit by the outlet. But Wood and the victim were managers at the Popeyes location, local news outlet reported. People reached out to the county sheriff's office for a comment on Saturday, May 17, but did not receive an immediate response. Wood bond is set for $50,000. Was this really worth some burnt biscuits? Felicia, your thoughts?
Well, okay, and grace and peace, everyone, this Sunday. So thank you, Diva, for showing the video and reading the story. But I don't know what happened. Did somebody try to eat the biscuits? Did the biscuits go on the floor and then they try to serve them? Were they biscuits that were burnt and Mr. Woods was hungry and went to eat it? And the other manager said you're not supposed to be eating the food and started cussing him in the place and told him, yeah, we can take it outside. And when he gets outside, he strikes him in the face and he pulls out the weapon. So I ain't got no judgment here. I don't know what happened here. Do you know what happened? Because I don't all of that, I don't know what happened. Did he get accused? I don't know what happened. Maybe he was hungry. I don't know. But from what the footage show, he looked like he was the aggressor. He came out with his fist up, ready to go get to fight it. So he must have been fighting with him.
So the one that punched him 3 times is the one that got shot.
Right. That's the one in the brown shirt.
Yeah.
He came out the door and had his fist up and he struck him.
Yeah, he did.
I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to figure out whose biscuits were. First of all, I love Popeyes biscuits, okay? And I don't want no burnt biscuits, but we know this wasn't about no burnt biscuits, right? We all know that, right, Chad? We know that, panel. This not about burnt biscuits. Something else happened here. And I found it very interesting that they quoted state law because I know North Carolina has stand your ground laws, okay? But they said, based on the state law, this wasn't enough to warrant a self-defense claim at this time. So I see how things are moving. They've been moving like this since last year. We don't know where we are in this country with the rule of law and who is and who is not. I remind folks that the current president of the United States is a convicted felon. So we'll see what happens. I've got no judgment. I'm just waiting on more facts because they didn't tell the story. We don't know what happened with the biscuits. I don't know what happened. Okay.
Katrina, your thoughts?
I'm wondering, is it about ego? Both of them managers. Do this one to be over this one? Do this one tell this one what to do? They're both managers. And you got people working under you. So if your employees see you acting this way, what make you think that they're not going to act that way? And they went outside to fight, but there's no rules in fighting. You don't. That's what I tell a lot of people. Sometimes you might bring a fist, but another person might bring a cut or a pow. There's no rules. You don't know how it's going to end up. And right now, everybody has a pow, just about. And for them to be out there fighting over some biscuits, it's ridiculous. What people need to be fighting out the upcharge that Popeyes want to put on the macaroni and cheese and the $5 for the little red beans and rice that look like somebody just spattered on a little kindergarten plate is ridiculous. And their prices are ridiculous. So that's what they need to be in there fighting about on how we going to bring down some of these prices and overcharging your customers. But y'all out there fighting over biscuits. This is totally ridiculous. I think it was an ego thing. I think this one didn't want that one telling him what to do, and this one didn't want him telling him what to do. It ain't about no biscuits because you can always go in there and make more biscuits. Just put that in claims, damages, whatsoever, and do something else. And like Felicia said, maybe they was hungry and wanted the biscuit. I don't know. Maybe he ain't put enough honey on it. I don't know. But it's totally stupid that you were in the hospital because y'all was fighting over biscuits. Sad. That's all I got, though.
Thank you. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Felicia on this one. This just was, was the tip of just pushed it over. I think that this has gone way back. I don't think that young boy came to work with a pow. Been going to work. I think something's probably transpired, whatever. And he's like, and if somebody, he didn't hit him in the face 3 times. Punched him, so I don't think this was the first time this happened. Unfortunately, that the force that he used, they figured wasn't equivalent what the guy did. It didn't warrant that. But it didn't just start there. This been ongoing. This just broke the camel's back.
Yeah, I they probably do have some type of history, but again, how did the manager even get the one manager? How did he get that pow? Like it's a mess. Like, how did you even get it in the restaurant? How did you just bring that to work? And then
In a book bag.
Yeah,
a little book bag.
Yeah, I guess they not. Yeah, it's just sad. So now over there, whatever y'all had maybe going on previously, and these burnt biscuits was just the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. But now you locked up. You got a $50,000 bond, and they're charging you with attempted M. It was a lose-lose situation. And you got the bigger loss because instead of you just putting your hands up, which would have been a whole different situation to begin with anyway, how do you give warning pow-pows that you're aiming at a groin in somebody's chest? At best, a warning pow-pow would be on the ground. Felicia, you want to say something before I move?
No, you were saying how Katrina answered your question. You saw how after the incident, he went in there to go get his backpack. That's how they do. And then he went to go shop in the mall.
Like nothing happened.
Yeah. So I agree with Dwayne. I think this stuff happened with them all the time. I don't think it's the first time they had an altercation. I think you should look back at that video. That one in the Brown came out all wild and everything. He was wilding out.
He did.
You know? And I think he always wilds out. I think he was probably the one at work that you can depend on that would go the heck off if the oil wasn't hot enough, if the lemonade wasn't sweet enough. And he probably been abusing on the other guy. So no. So we need more facts. And and that brother need a GoFundMe page.
That's what I'm saying. Them egos and got to him. Maybe he just trying to overpower them egos. And he young, 22 years old. He's the manager. One of the managers. It was an ego thing. I guarantee you. It was an ego thing. You can't tell me what them the manager as well. But I can't believe they had to over biscuits. It ain't funny, but it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
All this over some biscuits. But like we saying, it's more than them biscuits. It's something else.
It's something else. It's something else for sure. Because he probably brought it there as a result of whatever was going on. Not saying he's right. Definitely not saying that. But he probably brought it there as a result of what was going on between those two. And those poor workers, they probably seen the most. Because like the witness said, they challenged each other. Like, let's take this outside. And they took it outside. And that's what ended up happening. I'm going to go ahead and roll into the next story. And the next story is that unfortunately, the wrong body was at the funeral home. Let me go ahead and share screen so we can get more into this story. Just got to make sure I get the right video here.
I didn't make arrangement there to see the wrong body.
When Amitha Hunt's 80-year-old uncle passed away, she chose Harrison Ross Mortuary to prepare him for burial. But when she went to view his body, she says it wasn't him.
It was a guy laying there in my uncle's suit, but it wasn't my uncle.
What did you think?
I just kept looking at him. I didn't know. I just kept looking at him and kept looking. I'm like, wait a minute, he couldn't have got that dark.
Hunt says she knew something was wrong and asked a worker at the mortuary for help.
She was like, no, yes, that's your uncle. I said, that's not my uncle. My uncle wouldn't have got that dark. And I said, here's a picture of him. And I showed her the picture and she was like, you're right. Give us 1 minute, one minute.
Hunt says she and her family waited 3 hours while the mortuary fixed the mix-up so they could finally bury her uncle. She still doesn't know whose body was dressed in his suit and has filed a lawsuit against the mortuary over the whole ordeal. Her attorney calls the mortuary's actions outrageous.
For them to come in and see the wrong corpse, and then for the mortuary to deny that it's the wrong corpse, and then need proof that it's in fact the right person. So we think it's a really just the basic standard of care that they messed up on, and that they really need to really improve their ways so they don't do this to another family.
Harrison Ross Mortuary denies Hunt's claims and says they're preparing to file a cease and desist letter against her. For Hunt, as if losing her uncle wasn't hard enough, she says she's still haunted by the trauma of his funeral and seeing someone else in the suit she and her aunt picked out for him.
It's hurting. It's hurt. I still think about it. That's something that's never going to go away. To view the wrong corpse, I still can see that guy.
All right, so let me go ahead and share screen again. Hold on 1 second. It's a hot mess. So woman claims funeral home put the wrong corpse in her uncle's suit and casket and tried to deny the mistake. Amanda Hunt and her aunt are suing Harrison Ross Mortuary for the alleged mix-up, though the business denies the allegations. I know they wasn't thinking in a moment because they were just emotional, but they probably should have took a picture of the wrong corpse, right? So Amanda Hunt claims that when she attended her late uncle's viewing in April, she found a stranger in his suit and casket instead of him. Along with her uncle's wife, Hunt is now suing Harrison Ross Mortuary for the mix-up, which she claims staff tried to deny, requiring her to show photos to confirm the body was not him. Harrison Ross Mortuary has denied Hunt's claims and is reportedly prepared to send a cease and desist letter to her. When a California woman arrived to mourn her late uncle, she said she was shocked to see the body of a complete stranger, and even more shocked when a mortuary worker allegedly told her she was wrong. After his death in February, Otis Atkinson's family made arrangements at Harrison Ross Mortuary, Crenshaw Boulevard, location for a viewing and funeral service. When Otis' niece, Amanda Hunt, arrived for the viewing on April 7th, she was shocked to see a stranger in the casket where her uncle should have been, according to a complaint filed in court and viewed by people. Not only was the wrong corpse in her uncle's casket, but the stranger was wearing the suit the family had handpicked for the viewing, according to the document that Hunt and Otis' wife, Willie Mae Atkinson, filed against Harrison Ross Mortuary on May 15th. It was a guy laying there in my uncle's suit, but it wasn't my uncle, Hunt recorded to CBS affiliate. I just kept looking at him. I was like, wait, he couldn't have gotten that dark. Naturally, Hunt immediately attempted to remedy the error, but a staff member at the mortuary insisted that the body in the casket belonged to her uncle, she claims in a lawsuit. The employee spoke with double down, insisting that it was in fact the correct body per the complaint. So Hunt showed living pictures to the employee to prove that the body in the casket was not her uncle's, and only then did the staff member realize their mistake, the complaint alleges. It took several hours to remedy the mix-up. Take the incorrect course to another facility, switch the suit to the correct body, and place it in the casket, by which time there was little to no time left for any viewing, per the complaint. And it should not have been necessary in the first place, according to Hunt. It shouldn't have happened, she told the news. I didn't make arrangements there to see the wrong body. The mortuary has denied Hunt's allegations and is preparing to send Hunt a cease and desist letter, according to the news. Harrison Ross Mortuary did not immediately respond to people's request for a comment on Sunday, May 18th. Along with her aunt, Hunt is suing the business for negligence and breach of contract, as well as both intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Hunt and Willie Mae have suffered tremendously from the mortuary staff's shameful conduct, the complaint alleges. The mystery and horrific facts surrounding the treatment of Otis has caused and continue to cause the pair immense mental suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, inconvenience, grief, anxiety, humiliation, and emotional distress, per the lawsuit. It's hurting. I still think about it, Hunt told the news. That's something that's never going to go away. To view the wrong corpse, I can still see that guy. Hunt and her aunt also claimed that the rest of the family was impacted, stating in the complaint that relatives at the April 7th viewing were extremely distraught, leading to confusion, emotional distress, and arguments about the mix-up. In a statement to the news, Hunt attorney Elvis Tran said for them to come in and see the wrong course and for the mortuary to deny that it's the wrong course, we think is really just a basic standard of care. They got messed up. The funeral home staff, Tran added, really need to improve their ways so that they don't do this to another family. The wrong corpse in your family member's suit. Felicia, your thoughts?
Sorry it happened. Condolences to the family. And I hope they're able to resolve it in a manner where everyone can be pleased. Sounds to me like a whole lot of other things was going on too. I don't know. I'm done.
Thank you. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, sue the heck out of them. They nickel and dime you out of everything anyway. They take money that they don't even need. They get them caskets from Walmart.com and charge you $3,000, $4,000 for them when they ain't paid $1,000 or $1,100 or $900, and to go in there to see somebody else's face in the casket when you were expecting to see your family members, that is tragic. That is, I mean, that's a heartbreaking thing. And condolences to the family. Don't nobody want to see nobody else in something that's supposed to have been for my family members. I would be upset as well. So I don't blame. Like I said, they should have even offered to tell them, well, we'll just pay the funeral expenses. Did they offer anything? Did they offer any kind of consolidation? We made a mistake. We'll pay for the funeral. You don't have to pay anything. We'll give y'all your money back. We didn't hear none of that. So if I was her, I would sue them as well. That's all I got.
Yeah, and not only that, when they prepare that body, they have to do a lot of makeup and they have to do a lot of other stuff. But I think what happened was they interchanged the family members. They messed up. So the bodies were already prepared, but it's just the wrong bodies. It's a mess. So they had to go get the other body, bring the two bodies together, switch the clothes, and then put the bodies back where they belong. Just messy. Wayne?
You know, I agree. I think they should be compensated because funeral homes catch these people at the most vulnerable times, you know, and want to sell you everything. And that's just something that you got to be some checks and balances that you don't have mistakes like this. And when you do, you just broke the contract. You know, doing a funeral is a contract. You're going to provide, you're going to fix the body that's of our loved one. You're going to put the suit on the body. There's going to be a viewing. It's going to be all of that. There are arrangements that have to be made. And you didn't get that. She said that it wasn't even enough time for the viewing. That's part of the contract, to have a viewing. They didn't have it. So these people do need to be compensated. You know, it's very stressful. You know, they just deserve it. That's it.
Thank you. 48, I'm going to choke you. You're right, but other people was looking at Otis. It's a mess, right? And it's already an emotional time. That's just added stress. Yes, everybody, please. Yeah, you know what? Both families should sue. Where was Otis? 48, I want you to go to bed. Stop. But you're right. Where was Otis? And both families should sue. Because it's messy. It's messed up. And you are right, Wayne and Katrina. It's a very emotional time. And listen, everybody, I get it. Everybody got to get their money. They got to embalm this person, so forth and so on. But at the very least, if you're going to take my money, you need to do this thing right. And how do you not tag in those bodies? Now, I just happen to know because, you know, last year when my father passed, you know, we were sitting there talking to the funeral director for a long time, but they have a certain amount of, I guess I forgot the word. I want to say he called it coolers. But they have a certain amount of coolers in the funeral home because they have to store the bodies and embalm the bodies and so forth and so on. So when my dad passed, he was at the rehab center and he said that he knew, the funeral director, that particular rehab center, he said they only got coolers there. He said, we're going to go get them now. So there's a process of when they actually physically go get a person, how they store that person. Thank you, 48. Yeah, it happened last year. I appreciate that. But they have a process on how they go get the person, they store the person, and the person is already tagged or whatever the case may be. Now, I have a feeling when they went to do the embalming of these two individuals, they probably mixed the tags up. So that place is sloppy. Yeah, they're called body coolers. Thank you, Handy B. That place is sloppy. And they probably mixed up the tags on those individuals. But for you to sit there and tell somebody that they don't know that that's not their family member, that's even more messy. Felicia, yes, your thoughts?
You know, when you was reading the story out loud, the only thing that came to my mind was that Otis was already in the graveyard. She said they didn't didn't come back until 3 hours later?
Because they had to change. Because what I think they did was they mixed the two people up, because it was somebody else in Otis' suit. They said that part of it, when I read it, part of it said they went to other place. They had to go. So they had to go where the mix up of the bodies, they had to go where the other person was. And they had to then change the clothes. And then they had to bring Otis back. And then they had to put the other person back where they was at.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a
I
lot.
hope they were the same size.
No,
You know what I also found out too, though, the size of the clothes don't matter.
Yeah, they just cut them up. They just have on the fronts.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, but to your point, Katrina, if the other person wasn't the size of, that's what took them so long too. Probably they had to fix Otis up, and they had to fix the other person up with the different clothes. Now, yes, it is traumatizing, Claire. It's traumatizing. And like she said, now she keep picturing in her head this other person and not her uncle. And they talk about some cease and desist. No, but see, now it's going to be, but I'm sure there's other people, other family members that was at the funeral home that could attest to this, but they're trying to act as if she's crazy and she's lying now. Because they talking about some cease and desist. She should have got a picture, but like somebody else said, both families should have sued. But it could be also that the other family didn't have their viewing yet. That maybe they took them over there for the viewing, but the other family didn't see the person yet because maybe their viewing didn't start. Either way, that family, that funeral home is messy, and they do need to get their life together, and this family does need to get paid. Yes, at the worst time. Thank you, T. I appreciate that. All right. So listen, guys, we're going to roll into this last story. You know, Diddy twins. Diddy is on trial. Initially, the twins and everybody showed up for, I want to say, day 1 of week 2, right? Because day 1 of week 2 is when things actually kicked off. They got the jury of 12, the 6 alternates. They did opening arguments. And then, you know, people took the stand. So the girls were there, I think, day 1. They was there day 2. But at some point, they did walk out of the courtroom because the testimony was just too much. So their prom happened the other day. They're back in LA. They went to their prom. They did have to lock the comments on their Instagram page because I guess people probably was going crazy when they put their pictures up. So it's like, how do you try to live a normal life when your dad, who is so famous, is on trial right now for RICO charges? But what you're hearing about what your dad allegedly did to his ex-girlfriend is just horrific. Let me go ahead and share screen so we can get into this story. So Diddy twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah, 18, attend their high school prom in LA after appearing at their father's criminal trial. The sex crimes and racketeering trial against the music mogul began on May 12th. Because the prior week, it was really the 5th, but that was just to get a jury. Jessie and Delilah, both 18, went to the event at the Harbor House in Los Angeles on Saturday, Saturday, May 17th. For the high school milestone, Jessie and Delilah matched each other in long red dresses, which they paired with complementing corsages. As they were carried into the prom by their dates, the sisters were asked why they had arrived late, to which they responded, "The party doesn't start until we walk in. Save the best for last." That's those two there. They love to dress alike. Combs welcomed Jessie and Delilah with the late Kim Porter in 2006. He and Porter, who died in 2018, were also parents to son Christian Combs plus son Quincy Brown, who Porter shared with Albie Shore. The rappers later welcomed a son, Justin Combs, with Misa Hilton in 1993, and then a daughter, Chance Combs, with Sarah Chapman in 2006. Combs then surprised fans when he announced the arrival of his youngest daughter, Love, whom he shares with Dana Tran in 2022. Combs' trial began with opening statements on May 12th. He was initially arrested in September 2024, and he has denied all of the allegations against him and pleaded not guilty to 5 criminal counts, including 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The trial is expected to last several weeks. The mobile is currently being held without bail at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, and if convicted, he faces a potential life sentence. Combs' 6 eldest children, as well as his mother Janice Combs, were at the federal courthouse in downtown New York when opening statements in the music mogul sex trafficking trial began. His family had been fixtures at previous court hearings. At the start of the proceeding, Combs blew a kiss at his loved ones, who were seated in a nearby gallery. Later, as Daniel Phillip, a male escort, alleged in the Manhattan courtroom that he had been paid by Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, to have sex with her as Combs sat in the corner watching them while he pleasured himself. Chance, Jesse, and Delilah left the courtroom twice. Phillip also testified that he witnessed Combs being violent towards Ventura 38, and prosecutors also played in court the hotel security footage from 2016, in which Combs is seen assaulting Ventura, shoving her to the ground and kicking her as she laid motionless. Combs' daughters remained in the courtroom as the video played. They all looked straight ahead while Combs' son watched the clip. Jesse and Delilah was also in the courtroom on Tuesday, May 13th, which marked Ventura's first day on the witness stand. All right, let me just share one more thing before we talk about it. This was their Instagram post. They're gorgeous. They're so cute. They turned the comments off on that. Comments have been limited. That means they've been turned off. Unfortunately, I'm sure people was just, commenting about their father, unfortunately. So that's done right now. I guess they all kind of still there in the mansion. I don't know how long that's going to last, but at the moment, they're still in there. Felicia, your thoughts?
There was a quote. I want to know if I heard it right. Someone asked them why they were so late.
Mm-hmm.
And it said the party doesn't get started until they show up.
Yeah, I try to ignore that quote. Okay.
I'm done.
I know where you're going with that, but I'm gonna ignore that. Katrina, your thoughts?
Felicia, you're a mess. I know those are his kids and they want to show him compassion and whatsoever, but they learning from him. But if I was them, I would go to the courthouse whatsoever. I went there, whatever, but I'll be out living my life because who knows how long they got to do the things that they need to do before all the money is dried up. I will make sure my future is set. I have money for school or whatsoever because I they need to hear the things their daddy did, but they gonna get so much backlash, even though it's not them, it's him. But we know how this goes. You the father of so and so, it's just gonna be a lot. So I will be out living my life until I can't live my life no more the way I used to live it. But good luck, little girls. We'll see how it goes. That's all I got.
Beautiful girls. Usually people scroll till the comments are available. I have a difference of opinion when it comes to them knowing what their father did. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's too much, but those are just my thoughts. I respect yours, Katrina. Wayne, your thoughts?
No, I'm with you, Diva.
Yeah,
Hold on,
I
Wayne.
kind of
I'm
feel.
with you, Diva, on that. That's why I said I'll be out jet setting doing what I got to do. I won't. I mean, I know a lot of people say that they need to know what he doing, whatever. But I'll be living my life. I'm sorry, but that's all I got.
Yeah, no problem. And I don't know if they committed to a college yet. I haven't heard anything about a college they plan to go to. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, what's it going to benefit that they know all the stuff he did? I mean, what's going to benefit? I don't even think they should be in the court. I think the grandmother, should step forward and says, look, sweetie, y'all don't need to be in here. I don't want y'all to hear this. What's going on. With the 18 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they need to hear it. They already know pretty much, but they don't have to sit there and hear it and graphic, spelled out to them. I just think they're too young for it. And what do they need to know for? They just need to know if he's going to be found innocent or guilty.
Yeah.
And I really, and as far as them going to a prom and all this stuff, okay, I mean, I don't really feel one way or the other. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I think they need to live their life. I think unfortunately they're kind of not aware, if I'm making sense, of the gravity and how much trouble their dad is really in. But maybe they're not aware because maybe he don't seem to be too aware either. And when it comes to a jury, things can go either way. No matter how the case goes in court, it can sway either way. The pendulum could swing in your favor. The pendulum could not swing in your favor. I think that Diddy is so used to the pendulum swinging in his favor, he's thinking this is another hiccup. And although, I may have spent some time behind bars, I think he's feeling like this is going to swing in his favor. And I think that he didn't prepare the family, because I think when he went to New York, and this is part his fault and Mark's fault, his lawyer, I think when he went to New York to turn himself in, he thought it was just, we're going to hang out, we're going to chill. Y'all come on with me. Because the kids were with him. I don't know if the girls came, but the boys was with him. When he got arrested, if you go back and look at that video, Christian Combs was in the video. And then there's other pictures of when he went to New York where the whole family was there. So I think that he thought, we're going to go to New York. I'm going to turn myself in. We're going to come back home and wait for this trial. They're ill prepared for what the possibilities are in terms of the outcome of this case. And I feel for them, because I'm thinking the party don't start till we get here. They sounding daddy, like their daddy. And I'm not talking about in a freak off way. Just the arrogance and not understanding that y'all once were on top, but that's not your life anymore, so to speak, if I'm making any sense. I don't know, but I do feel for them. I feel for the kids. And I'm hoping that if this case doesn't go the way that they want it to go, or think it's supposed to go, I'm hoping that they'll be okay. Because I think right now they're just saying to themselves, in a couple weeks, daddy will be home. Pop will be home.
Diva.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're going to go, what's that other, the other boy, with the King Combs or whatever, that was accused of some stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Remember on that yacht?
Yeah, I remember. They tried to get that case thrown out.
You said they did, or they trying to?
So they're trying to. They filed the day that it was one day, might have been on Friday, the day that Danny Kane took the stand. No, matter of fact, it was before that. So he's trying to get the girl Dawn Richardson, Richard. He was trying to get her lawsuit thrown out the day that she took the stand. It just so happened that was the day that I guess it hit the courts. He was trying to get her lawsuit thrown out. But the one with the son, they actually they said they want to take that to trial and see their day in court, because they claim the girl is lying.
Yes, I wonder they all be locked arm in arm going to court to see him, to hear all his dirt. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's a lot. That's why I titled it "It's a Lot." You know, my heart breaks for the children still, even having to hear like all of this testimony, and they didn't even hear all of it yet. Because some bodyguards is going to speak, is going to get wild. I think we're only at the tip of the iceberg, but we'll see, because if court resumes on Monday with Don Richards still on the stand. At Diva, let me see. I always wondered, do they read all the news and sit in court and still believe their dad is innocent? Let me tell you something, Lakeisha, I'll say this. There are wives that believe their nasty, dirty, filthy husbands are innocent. So I do believe that they live in a bubble, and in their bubble, their dad did not do the things he's being accused of. And I do believe once they raided the homes, I do believe Diddy was having conversation with the kids, and he probably told them, don't believe what you're going to hear in this media, in the streets. But see, the other thing that we have to understand, a lot of these people that have turned their back on Diddy, a lot of these people that are suing him, a lot of these people that are accusing him of things, the kids seen them in different capacities. The kids seen these people in their dad's face, laughing, kikiing, and ha-haing with them. And that's why they're confused, because it's like, oh, you was in my dad's face. We was calling you auntie. We was calling you uncle. And now you're suing my dad. I will constantly go back to when this man turned 50, everybody who was anybody was at his birthday party. Diva, did you see Beyonce's name in Cassie's text? I did. They released those texts. But let me tell you, you know why I'm not shocked? I'm not shocked at all, because a lot of people are lying when it comes to Diddy in this case. They're rewriting history. And as they rewrite it, all of them was 100% victims, and Diddy was the monster, the solo monster. And I'm going to say that ain't true. It's not true. When you keep going back and back and back, it's one thing for you to say Cassie, who was the girlfriend who had a different relationship with Diddy, is going back. There's nobody here that's going to keep going back to the employer every day and their job, and they're not getting paid. New Jersey Transit, I think it was, right? They went on strike on Friday, but they settled it. I just read an article that they settled it. They settled it tonight. They settled it sometime today, so it will resume on Monday, normal service, whatever that means. But I bring that up to say that on an everyday average basis, nobody's going to continue to go to work and not get paid. They're not. But why did these individuals keep going to work? They was abused. Mentally, physically, they was forced to take substances. They was forced to see their boss walk around with no clothes on. But if y'all remember, I did a story where I think he was a dentist. If he wasn't a dentist, he was a regular medical doctor, and he would walk around his office with no clothes on. He would perform SA acts on some of the other workers right in front of the other workers, and nobody said jack.
He was an urgent care doctor.
Yeah, an urgent care doctor. I did this story. This is a real true story. So the thing is a hot mess. I don't understand why people do this. The FBI has been investigating Sean Combs in the 90s. All they found was baby oil. Andre, I mean, you got to talk. Baby oil. Baby oil that Cassie Ventura herself said there was no substances in that baby oil. She said 0. And they keep talking about baby oil and lube. Okay, so we understand that his sex life was different than ours. But you got to give us where he was violating the people and shoving the medications down his throat or down their throat. And I will say this, I don't understand how everybody was so high. They was up for days. Nobody ever passed out, fell asleep. It's just not humanly possible. Diva, and she didn't leave because of the FOs, but because she couldn't be, she stated, okay. Yeah, that was her real issue, is that she was never number one. And that's a whole nother story in and of itself. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. It's a late Sunday night, but y'all hung in there with me. Y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. I appreciate y'all. I hit 40K this month, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And my Eva, she was passing out. You know, she did say, I did hear that. I will give that to you. She did say she was passing out. But you know, my thing is, but you don't think nobody else passed out either? And let me say this. I don't care how much substances you have within you. But so many times and so much in a row that as a male, you can get that thing up like that. It's just, it's a lot going on in this case. It's loaded, literally, but we'll talk about it. But the other thing is, you know, my goal for the end of this month in the April is 50K. And by December of 2025, 100K. So I can have behind me my YouTube plaque. But I want to thank y'all, okay? Thank y'all so much for being here. Again, good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo, choo.